Hello, my name is Aaron, welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about settings for vlogs on the Sony a5100. Now you know by now that I absolutely love the a5100 and use it for plenty of things, but I think one of its main selling points is how great it is for video, its price point, which makes it the perfect vlogging camera. Everything you've seen in the video so far has been taken with the Sony a5100 with the kit lens, but I'm just going to go through some settings now that can make your vlogs look even better. So the Sony a5100 doesn't have any cinematic profiles built in, such as Cine 4, but luckily there's a setting called Creative Styles which helps us get around this. Now if you go to Settings and then tab 5 and then Creative Styles, I use one called Portrait for almost everything, even if it's not a portrait. With these custom settings, the settings I use is contrast at -3, saturation at -1, and sharpness at -1. I think this helps gives your footage a more cinematic quality without draining too much colour. Another important setting is your quality settings. This means you want to be recording in XAVSC. You may find that this setting is occasionally blanked out, and this is because you may not be using the right kind of memory card. You need an SDXC memory card which has a higher transfer rate. So once you've got the right kind of memory card, you want to make sure that you've got the right format setting selected. So you want to go to Camera Settings and then tab 2 and then File Format, and you can see it here. Another important thing to note that if you're in the PAL European region or where else uses PAL, that you might find a limit of 50 frames per second here rather than 60 frames per second which is advertised on the camera. That is because 60 frames per second is only available in NTSC, the North America region. Luckily, you can change your region to NTSC. I'll put a link to a video here that runs through exactly how to change your settings to NTSC, so you can get that higher 60 frames per second frame rate, which is great so if you want that smoother footage, or if you want to slow it down by half to get 30 frames per second slow motion. Now another important setting is to make sure that you are recording in movie mode. Now because you can press the movie button in any setting, you might think, well, I can just record from here, but I think it is important because you get a few extra settings if you're recording in movie mode. First up is Program Auto, which is basically what I use most of the time. That means most of the settings are automatic, but you can change things like ISO on the fly. But if you want a bit more control, there's also Aperture Priority, which increases and decreases the amount of background blur in your footage, and there's also Shutter Priority, which controls the amount of motion blur. The fourth setting is Manual, which is if you want the most control, where you control both shutter and priority settings. Now all this footage that I've taken here has been recorded on the Sony a5100 with the 16 to 50mm kit lens. This lens is great because not only does it come with the camera, so it's cheap, but it also has OSS stabilization built in, which means your footage will be less shaky than if you're using a lens without this built in. So if you are getting a new lens and you're going to be walking around a lot making your vlogs, bear in mind that OSS lenses are going to be less shaky. Now I'm going to put a bit of footage here which is recorded earlier of me outside. This is going to highlight one of the problems with this camera for vlogging, which is the inbuilt microphone. Because there is no audio jack for plugging in a microphone, you're going to be relying on either an external audio source like a recorder and you sync up the audio afterwards, or you're going to be using the inbuilt microphone. Because of this, you will pick up a lot of background noise, the wind and stuff like that. So I'm taking some footage outside today so you can see some example footage of what this camera is like outside. Now you're going to notice straight away that there's quite a bit of sound coming in through the microphone, and I'm just using the camera's onboard microphone for this. So I'll put a bit of this footage in here so you can see quite how loud it was. This is definitely something worth bearing in mind when using this camera, because you don't want to record your whole video, come home and your footage not be usable. So there we have it. I'm going to put some more footage in now of me using this camera with these settings so you can see the type of thing that you can get. But overall, this is a great camera for vlogging, and hopefully these settings will help take your videos to the next level. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel and dropping a like on the video. But until next time, see ya.